Welcome to the GPLama YouTube channel, and over the weekend we saw Garmin reach 100% for their staged rollout of firmware version 19.19 for their X40 series cycling GPS units, that being the 540, 840 and 1040, including the 1040 and 840 Solar. In this video I'll dig into what's new, and I'll also give you a quick tip that I've been using lately to stop units from updating that Garmin probably don't want you to know about, but it is kind of handy to stop that appearing all the time if you don't want to be on the latest firmware just yet. A quick summary of the updates in 1919. There's some new group ride feature updates. Now I haven't covered group ride, so I'll do a quick whip around of exactly what that's all about. I think it's pretty cool. Climb Pro gets a quick shortcut. There's some smart notification image support with a little extra detail you need to know on that one. And there's a ton of other miscellaneous fixes and updates. Okay, kicking things off with group ride and the updates there. They've improved Group Ride scheduled ride time picker and fixed Group Ride keyboard showing non-English keys. Now I think we need to do a little bit of a loop back on what Group Ride actually is. I haven't covered it. I looked at it early on, but no one was using it, and given it's a Group Ride thing, it was kind of hard to demonstrate. Let's do a quick whip around of what it's all about. So pulling up their FAQ page on this one, Group Ride can be found on compatible Edge cycling computers, those being Edge 540, 840, 1040, and the little beluga whale, the Edge Explorer 2. This feature was released with firmware version 18.23 and 10.23 for the Edge Explorer 2, so a few months back. Now, it offers users access to a shared course, group messaging, and live location data to group members using a special code. This is super cool, but it is limited to people having these newer devices. What does this all mean? Well, let's set up a group ride and have a look right now, which means I've got to start recording the screen on this. Just one sec. There we go. Alrighty. So from the main screen, I will scroll down and I have group ride. Now, if I had somebody's unique code, I could simply enter the code in there and then pull down their course information and participate in their group ride when the day comes about. I don't have one. Let's create a group ride. So name, we will call it Llama Test. Done. Start is 8:20. Well, we don't want to start it right now. Let's start it in an hour from now. Add course. Let's go today's gravel course. Adding the course, okay. 78k Southern Gravel, there's all the details. So just like loading any other predefined course, you'll have Climb Pro information, course demand, summary, etc. We can do anything else just as a normal course. There's a power meter connecting in the background from another room. Okay, add that course. Okay, so my group ride that I'm about to create here has a name, a date, a time, a course. I generate code. Now what that will do is upload all this information to the Garmin cloud, creating a group ride that anybody can participate in with that unique code. There's the power meter connecting again. Okay, we'll give that a few seconds to create. There we go. It took a little while. So I have created the group ride that, again, if you're watching this right now, you can enter that code in to your 540, 840, 1040 or Edge Explorer 2, so the HU5ZB6, and participate in my group ride. You can even do it virtually if you want to jump on a trainer and follow this course. So this uploads it all to the cloud, and if you enter that code, you will then pull down the course automatically. So for course sharing, this is absolutely brilliant. And when you're in the group ride, you can see everybody else and message them internally, meaning you don't need an Android device for SMS access. This messaging is all set up within the Garmin cloud. So from the head unit itself, you can send messages to and from other people, regardless of what kind of phone you have connected. It just needs a data connection to the Garmin cloud. With that now all in the cloud, I can go to group ride and, well, I've already signed up for this ride. You can sign up for multiple group rides if you like with multiple codes, but this one here, Llama Test, I click on that. Start location sharing. I'm now joining that group ride, joining it early. I believe this all takes place on the same day. Times aren't of importance for this for some reason. Group ride session has a course. Do I want to start the course? Yes, I do. Navigate to the start. Okay, so it's going to navigate me to the start of the course. But here is a rider list and messages inside. Right here, we can click on that. And there's some predefined texts right here. Finish ride, why not? So if I send that, the riders in the group will all see that message. You can customize some of that text, little notification at the top of the screen there, customize in Garmin Connect Mobile if you like, but yeah, allows you to message straight from the head unit, which is something that only Android devices could do in the past on cellular services. Oh, actually there's a type message here. Nice, that worked, cool. So that's it in a nutshell, just setting up the basic configuration of that. On screen here, I'll pull up a few other additional screenshots they have on the FAQ. Once I stop the screen recording on that. How do I create a group ride? How do I share a group ride? So you just send your, okay, come on, you're beyond a joke now. You send your friends the code, or anybody the code. Seriously, just put my code in before, you'll see what happens with that. How do I start? During the group ride data screen, so pulling that up here, there's some chats going on and what other people will see those messages pop up as, rider list, and also riders on the screen. There's also a map legend, so square, tile, circular. There's a lot going on here with this. It will require a bit of a deep dive to present exactly what this is all about. However, that's group ride, a quick messy summary, so to speak, late on a Sunday night. All right, moving on through the changelog list. Group ride, pretty cool, even just for sharing routes. I think it's awesome. Climb Pro, added shortcut to Climb Pro screen by tapping the Climb prompt. Now, if you're using Climb Pro quite a lot or using Climb Pro in freeride and you're in very hilly terrain, Climb Pro will always switch screens automatically. It gets quite annoying. So I've turned off auto screen switching to Climb Pro and only pull it up when I want to see what's on screen. The climb message will still pop up as a prompt, and now I can click on it to switch straight to that screen automatically, as shown here on screen right now. So all working as expected out on the trails, or whatever that road was today. Very overgrown there, no snakes, so that was a good thing. Added estimated time to end of climb for time to destination data field during a course Climb Pro climb. Fixed elevation page and Climb Pro for indoor trainer course use. Fixed invalid climb split cadence values. Cool, that's Climb Pro taken care of. Further down through the changelog, enabled manual setting of resting heart rate to enable fitness age calculations on Garmin Connect. Something that I haven't done. I kind of ignore the fitness age, it's never as low as I want it to be. Added smart notification images for apps that support them. Now, when I saw this pop up in the beta stream, I was quickly on the support forums asking them, does this mean we can get messages from iPhones and things like that and show images? Unfortunately, no. I believe this is Android only. Now, I do think Garmin kind of need to be a little bit more detailed in the changelogs with that, because there's a lot of us with iPhones out there getting smart notifications, and this doesn't even apply. Enabled workout auto pause when activity profile timer auto pause is enabled. Added button support to elevation data screen for axis scaling. Now, added button support, likely one for the 540 unit, but axis scaling on the elevation screen is one of these little hidden features, something I should do a whole other video on, because I'm guessing not a lot of people know it can be done. Let's have a quick look at that in action now. Okay, out here on today's ride, and I have the elevation profile screen, where if you click on the X or Y axis, you can then scale them up or down, or wider or skinnier. So going to up to 15Ks view, 10Ks, 5Ks, 4Ks on the X, and then on the Y axis, we can then scale the elevation of the climbs as well to make things a little bit more detailed. Now it's coming out with stop course, because if you're not quite precise with the plus or minus, and you have a course loaded, it thinks you want to stop the course. Anyhow, there's a quick overview of what the axis scaling does on the touchscreen. I'm guessing the update we're seeing in 19.19 is for the button axis on the 540. God help anyone trying to figure that out. This was hard enough on the gravel, but as you can see, it is possible to customize the scaling in both X and Y directions. Again, all working as expected, just that pesky little stop course navigation popping up if you've got a course running. Updated VO2 max page to show 4 weeks of history at a higher resolution. Added prompts to make it more difficult to accidentally discard a ride. I've always found it pretty hard to discard a ride anyway, but they've made it even harder. That's a good thing. Increased touch area for your music controls data page. Who put Limp Bizkit on my playlist? Whew, that needs a reassessment right away. There's some fixes there for the auto scroll timer loop, Connect IQ, Korean keyboard, updated Twitter references and icons to X, because Twitter is now called X for those of us who still bother to be on that platform. Fixed Di2 shifter ordering in battery data field. Fixed syncing auto detected FTP and lactate threshold heart rate to Garmin Connect. Hopefully that means we won't be setting new FTPs for every ride, and I can't think of the last time that popped up. Early on this year, I think I was setting a new FTP for every ride, even when that FTP was below or high, or it was just every single ride was different. Okay, almost home with the second last entry in the changelog, fixed front gear data field for classified power shift gear hub. Now that hits close to home because I've been out riding with a power shift in recent times, and well, you're gonna have to wait for my take on that. But one thing that was difficult when first riding with the power shift hub, which simulates a front chainring, it's a rear hub with two modes, 1-to-1 and a 0.68 gear ratio, changed by pressing a single button on the handlebars. I never knew which mode I was in. I was either spinning and then spinning too fast, or spinning fast and not hard because I pressed it was just difficult until I figured out you could actually pair it to a head unit, such as a Garmin Edge, and it can display what gear you're in. But it requires the sensor to work, and I'm having the sensor drop in and drop out and drop in and drop out quite often. So for half of today's ride, I disabled the sensor because I was sick of the message popping up. However, the front gear can be displayed on Garmin Edge units as shown here on screen. And if you're in one of two, it's in easy mode. If you're in 2 or 2, you're in 1-to-1 mode. Pretty cool stuff, but I've got a lot more to say on that, and I hope they iron out that dropout issue because it gets very, very annoying. And finally here, it's just one of these lines. Fixed other minor issues and improved device stability, which is always included. All right, that's about it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this quick skip through what's new in 1919 for the X40 series from Garmin. And let me know, if you do use that group ride code that we had earlier in the video, did it work? Did my route pop up? Was anybody else on the ride? That'd be a bit weird because it's dark out and I don't think anybody watching is anywhere near the start point. Anyhow, with that, we'll leave it there. As always, if you've enjoyed this one, thumbs up, hit subscribe to move across more videos on this channel, and thanks for watching. Now hold up just 1 second. Garmin are gone. They thought that was the end. We're not going to get in trouble. We're good. All right, let's roll with it. So as mentioned earlier in the video, how do you stop these updates rolling out to the unit automatically, either via Wi-Fi directly to the unit or via Garmin Express? Well, I'll first say that you should be on the latest firmware most of the time, but for whatever reason you want to stay on the firmware that you're on, here's a method that works for me to stop this occurring at the start of a ride and this occurring at the end of a ride and this just being annoying when I want to stay on the firmware that I'm currently on. Now these updates roll down to the /Garmin folder on these units to a file called gupdate.gcd. If you just simply 0-byte that file, you can touch the file if you're on a command line, or maybe create a text file with that name, with no content, and make the file read-only or locked, depending on the operating system you're on. Then the unit won't be able to download the file, Garmin Express won't sync that file, you'll be good to go, and you won't be prompted either. Now that's worked very well for me in recent times. It may not work tomorrow or the next day, but it's just a quick tip to stop the updates rolling out automatically if you don't want that to occur. As I said, use at your own risk. It's not advised, but it's been bloody handy for me, to be honest. All right, with that, that is the end of the video. Cheers.